And welcome everyone to our Monday preview show, day 19 for August the 30th. As we have reached final week, we've reached the big week. We have 12 races on today's card, 10 flat wagering races and 2 jump races, 11 on Tuesday, which of course the big day, Virginia Derby Day, and 12 on Wednesday. Jess, we're earning our paychecks this week.
You know, I'm about to run out of marker. This is great.
Normally I mail it in every day, but this week we're getting it done.
Bring in the A game. This is it. We're going to go out in style.
Yeah. And to my excitement, some of my favorite race distances here, those mile and 3/16 and mile and a quarter turf races on the outer turf. And we got a couple of those this week. So very excited. In fact, we kick off Monday's card with a 5,000 non-winner of the year at a mile and 3/16. A little bit of a specialized condition and a specialized distance.
There are some specialized horses in here as well. And my theory all year has been that these steeplechase horses are coming in to these flat races a little bit fitter, with a little more stamina and different type of conditioning. So, Argentic, please prove me right this one time, just one time.
Well, you've been proven right like 3 times on this meet.
But not with this horse. This one I feel like I've gotten a little stuck on. I know I've picked him every time. And you know how you kind of can get a little stuck on a horse that eventually you just feel like he owes you one?
Yeah.
Argentic, you owe me one here.
And then when they win is the time you jump off.
Right, so I can't. Now I'm just all in. I'm all in forever.
I like to picture you 2023, Argentic, please.
Oh, and he's a jump horse, and he's only 7. So God, I have another 5 years of picking this horse at least.
And led last time out with the 16th left, so kind of gave you a little bit of an excitement. What I thought was interesting with this race is you have a lot of these regular 5,000, and then you have 2 kind of steep droppers, Dover Cliffs. I want to say Dover Cliffs used to be like a real high-end stakes horse, but I'm not 100% sure of that. And also
high-end might be really stretching that. He's a stakes horse.
Yeah, I want to say I called him at Monmouth. Good stakes horse. How about that? But anyways, Rough Night and Dover Cliffs both kind of coming out of the 10,000, 12.5 open. I think Rough Night is going to be a somewhat short price in this race.
Yeah, I used him in the bottom half of my exotics. I think he's a little bit beatable here. Again, I'm kind of stuck with Argentic. I think Dover Cliffs of the 2 big class droppers is the tougher one. And I also do that dance a little bit, kind of throwing in maybe a little bit of a price there.
That was, I have that one highlighted as well. That was just a pretty good effort last time, first time locally over the turf. And because the 2 prior turf races hadn't been that good, but those were against kind of the open 12,000. So might have just kind of found his friends around this level. And the distance to me is going to be the interesting part. And I think, with Argentic, you're obviously onto something because, most of these horses, in fact, most horses in America just don't run a mile and 3/16. Now, Chateau de Vizille did last time and actually ran okay.
Yeah, the distance is interesting. And I think that really, viewers, stay tuned. I have a lot of real thoughts on this on Wednesday's card as well. So
your picks for the first, Jess?
1, 6, 2, and 9.
The second, I keep forgetting we have 12 races, so we might need to hum through these a little bit faster than talking about every other horse.
We can't dawdle.
No. The second race on the card, we start our early pick 4 always in race 2. And obviously with the added races, the structure of our normal 9 race card changes just a bit. But one thing that will remain the same is the early pick 4 will cover races 2 through 5. But maiden claimer, 10,000 bottom runners and a big field of 12 here.
I went with aces up. I feel like there's kind of a significant difference occasionally between the maiden 16 and the maiden 10 here. Mm-hmm. The 16 really, you can get some nice horses that are maybe on their way up and step up in class. And that maiden 10 can be, it's the bottom.
Yeah.
He's dropping down here. He wasn't able to sustain his speed against maiden 16 last time, but I think against this group, he may be able to.
Yeah, he was on the inside of the duel last time too, up on the front end. And to me, that's usually not I'd rather be on the outside of the duel. Obviously you'd rather not be in the duel at all, but to me, that gives this one a little bit of excuse. I actually have it highlighted as improve possible. And Michael Sanchez on board, of course. And he's had a pretty solid meet here. I think he's hit 19% right now.
Oh, absolutely. I also like another huge long shot here, and that is the 3 cut match. I was really surprised to see this horse at 20-1 on the morning line. Merv, great job. If we can get close to that, I'll take it. Only 3 lifetime starts. I like him stretching back out to 2 turns. There's some scope and some distance ability in his pedigree. I know that one, those other tries going long were not that good, but this is a different level, I think. Yeah. And you get Caramano, so you get Ferris Allen. These are very live connections. And the race for leading rider and leading trainer are both still very much up in the air.
Yeah, this one actually showed some speed going short last time, which I thought was interesting. And yeah, I think a few different. I mean, when you're looking at 20, 25 to one shots, you got to look for any little hopes of optimism there. I think a fair bit of wagering attention going to go toward the outside with Nikki Bear, who's 0 for 12, but just coming off a very narrow defeat at the same level. Palmetto Blue, I think, might get some attention on the outside. But yeah, big field, cheap maiden race to kick off the early pick four. Your picks for the second, Jess?
6, 3, 8, and 11.
We are the third race, Inner Turf Maiden Claimers. Now these are state breds, and again, we have kind of a unique state bred thing here. So you'll see horses that are not necessarily Virginia breds in this race, but it meant they were Virginia, restricted and all that kind of stuff. But I just want to remind everybody of that. And again, a field of 9 here in this 2-turn race.
I went with the 5, Amplio Esquema. She's shown more than enough ability at this point. Does need a step forward. I think she's sort of stuck in that like hanging into second and third sort of position.
Yeah.
Needs a little bit more, but I think she can get that here.
Insane. 9 for 11 in the money. Just hasn't been able to get the W yet.
Yeah. I mean, just knocking on the door. You have to think she's sitting on a breakthrough win.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious to see what the 4 Osa does for Carla Morgan. This one at maiden 25 ran pretty good in debut. They jumped up to the maiden special weight level. It got beat by a couple of these, but not by all that much. And sometimes, these lightly raced horses, they can make maybe a little bit more of a move forward. And also, I wanted to mention Diodora for Patrick Noosh. That barn has been sending out live runners all season. This one gets Lasix for the first time after a pretty dull showing against maiden 16. Is jumping in class, but again,
I have that one as a long shot that I like as well too.
Might be a big price in here. Your picks for the third?
5, 8, 6, and 7.
We are back to $10,000 maiden claimers on the Inner Turf in race 4. A lot of turf routes here in this early portions of the card. And who did I had highlights? I had Salmon Style highlight just because I think it might be kind of tough to beat in here.
Do you think he's named after a racing office member?
No. Well, snappy dresser, Sam. I got to give him that.
He is a sharp. Us New Englanders do bring the stuff. We bring our A game style to Colonial Downs. I do like Salmon Style on top as well. Looks logical. 2 good efforts on the grass, making third start of the year here. Kind of checks just a lot of the boxes here, plus some class relief.
I think Bloke makes a little bit of sense. The number 9 horse, the race 2 back on turf sprinting was really very, very good. Just got beat by the Wild Flyer. They came back last time on an off turf. This horse had primarily been a dirt runner, and so I think that the little wake up on the turf has him back wanting to try that. I think it might float up a little bit in price just because the connections are not very high percentage, and there's a fair number of other rivals in here with the big full field of 12. Your picks for the 4th, Jess?
The 6, 8, 9, and 7.
We get to a turf sprint in the 5th race. And again, normally the 5th is where the late pick 5 starts, but with the added wagering race, it'll be starting in the next race. So I do want to mention that because I think people, horse players are habitual in a sense. We get ready. Street Silence is your 9 to 5 favorite, Jess, coming off a win on the grass 2 back. What do you make of Street Silence, and what do you make of this race?
I mean, high percentage Trombetta barn. This one does look very tough here for live connections. He's going to have some company, I think, right to his outside out front, but his tactical speed alone, I think, makes him awfully tough. Mm-hmm. That said, I'm trying to beat him with number 8, Living Vicariously. The Tomlinson barn has also been very live this season. And I think that race is really shaping up to be a key race. He was 5th, but he was not badly beaten behind Inhalation and Sky We Trust. Horses, they've both come back to win and run really well. There was another one, underneath there that came back and ran well as well.
Well, and Living Vicariously totally against its running style last time, right? Yeah. Like just came away a little bit. I mean, they were drawn way on the outside, just couldn't get to the, down toward the inside, and still ended up kind of running on. Yeah. So really interested to see what that one could do. And if it presses Street Silence, that'll certainly be a part of the equation. I looked to find if there was kind of some other speed. Rhombus, we don't know because that horse had been kind of a speed horse, but that was back in 2019. It's been off for a long time. And, getting to that first turn in these the only turn in these races is sometimes important. What did you make of the 9 Rising Perry? I thought maybe a little bit interesting. Damon Dilladovico is a very, very solid Maryland-based trainer and gets Sheldon on the outside. And I thought maybe would kind of stock those top 2 if they try to work their way over to the rail.
I mean, definitely a little overbet last time out. I don't want anything close to that sort of short price on, but I think you might get a better price here.
Yeah, that Freddie Soto race was weird because the top 2 favorites scratched. And so this course kind of almost inherited a big favorites role when it shouldn't have. And party for me because I liked Freddie Soto. But the 6th race, your picks for the 5th, I should say.
8, 6, 7, and 9. 8, 5, 7, and 9. I'm sorry.
8, 5, 7, 9. The 6th race does start the 50-cent late pick 5. We are back turf. This Inner Turf course. Now, I should say the rails are going to be more out, I believe, than than they have been for this weekend. Jill was saying they wanted fresh paths for the horses, and so going to be real curious to see kind of how that affects some of the races. I know it makes the outer course a little bit more narrow because they were already out a little ways last week, and I mean, just optically it just looked a little more narrow down the stretch. So curious to see what that effect has. But what are some of your thoughts here on the sixth race?
I went with number 7, Uwari Sky on top.
Lecky.
One for Lecky. Come on. One time.
I was at that race at Pimlico. That was the day I went to Pimlico. I did not think the horse was going to lose in mid-stretch. I was all excited for Lecky, and he got just completely nailed. The wire was gross.
But he ran so I feel like his last 2 races have actually been really big steps forward for this horse. He was a little bit average form prior to that, but I like that he seems to have rounded into form. He has useful speed, and the way the turf course has, and again, we'll see how it plays with the shift of the lanes, but it's been playing pretty favorably and kind to front runners at this point. So I think his tactical speed will actually work to his advantage. I
was very excited to see the number 9 Creative Courage for the Jennifer Tooley barn. Jennifer is a fellow Northwesterner from my neck of the woods. In fact, her boyfriend at the time was who I stayed with when I went to Portland my first year. And my favorite Jennifer Tooley story was at the Emerald Sale one year. She got conned into buying the last horse at the sale. Everybody was partying, having fun, and it was really cheap, like $700. The horse ends up winning on debut, running second in an $80,000 stake the second time, and went on to win an allowance at Churchill.
Cool.
the horse made
That's neat.
Horse made like $250,000. I'm sure if you look up her profile, it's got to be her top horse. But yeah, she bought it for like 700 or 1,000 or something, and it was literally like, "Hey, we're all drunk at the bar. You should buy this horse, Jennifer." So
every good decision starts that way. I actually like this horse quite a bit. Good effort off the layoff last time.
Yeah, and Jennifer's a great horse person. She was a long time pony rider before being a trainer, and always is connected as a trainer. And right now is 4 for 15 in 2021, so winning races. Your picks
for these small barns, they're the hard horse racing.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, the 6 or your picks for the 6, Jess.
7194.
7th race begins our late pick 4 at 1 mile and a 16th, again over the inner turf course. Dale Capuano, who we've seen sparingly, has one in here, and a lot of the normal casting crews of Ferris's and those types. Who was your pick here in this race?
Come for a little bit of a price here with number 10, Nevesian Spirit for Richard Hendricks. 2 in a row, has been even more effective on the turf, kind of switching over from synthetics here. Tough field, but I think the tactical speed really puts it right in the thick of things.
Yeah, it seems like we didn't see any real Presque Isle shippers much the first few weeks, but it seems like the last 2 weeks we've started to see a fair bit of them. I haven't seen a ton of success from them yet, but a lot of the ones we've seen have kind of been going up against just tougher horses, I think.
Yeah.
And so this one makes, I thought, a little bit more sense. Derek Ryan, who has been very good from limited starts, brings down Volador. Kobe Hernandez coming in. This one coming down from Monmouth, dropping a little bit in price. And I think it'll kind of be a logical, top 2 or 3 choice in here. I thought there's oddly enough, there's a fair bit of good form in this race.
This is a really solid betting race. This is one of those races for me. If you're playing a multi-race wager, you might have to go a little deep here.
Yeah. Your picks for the 7th?
10, 8, 4, and 7.
We're at 1 mile and an 1/8 listed in the outer turf, and so that'll actually be starting real close to the finish line. So a little bit of a shortish run, I should say, into the first turn on the outer course there. But we have an even money favorite in here, which we haven't seen a whole lot of. Merv's not like he'll set him like the connector he had at 4 to 5 and stuff like that. But I guess we just haven't seen a lot of low odd morning line horses.
Yeah, and I didn't use this horse. Maybe I get beat by this one, but there were a couple of familiar faces I actually liked more here.
What was you used a term earlier in the season about it was like use it or lose it kind of type thing with these low odds horses. Like single or toss. Right?
Yeah. Like and I tossed him. I understand the case you can make, but he's a fresh face in town.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd rather go with something that I've seen over the surface already. And I hate this horse's name, but number 3, Extra Sexy Big Daddy. Who names a horse that? I have some questions.
Well, we can look at the breeders. They possibly did.
Maybe they named it. Maybe whoever bought it named it. I have questions here, but he's just been very consistent. I like the added distance for him here. Kind of gets a little more ground. Looks like he just ran out of real estate last time.
Yeah, the dam is Extra Sexy Psychic.
I mean, also, I don't hate that.
Yeah, you're a witch. You're into that stuff.
That I can get behind. But
yeah.
we have to take a stand somewhere.
I know Neil Morris has been a favorite of yours this year. He's got a long shot in here with gas money. Did that one register on your picks anywhere?
You bet it did.
I know.
You bet. Like kind of an interesting horse, right? He's making only his third start back off a layoff, bred to have a ton of stamina. You have to think this horse winds up over fences at some point, because that's really what Neil's program is. Yeah. But he gets these classy horses, bred to run all day, bred for the turf. I don't know. I like him at a big price.
Yeah, I think the Orsino horse, Alonzo Mosley, going to get a fair bit of support coming down from Monmouth off really 5 straight good efforts since Joe's got this horse. Even though he's been against winners twice now, showed really well in both of them. But your picks for the 8th, Jess?
3, 7, 6, and 5.
The 9th race on the card is on the main track, 7 furlongs for an optional claimer 40. And this is a fun group. I'm actually pretty jacked about this one. Summer Splashdown toward it's a Cadre last time was one I was against at a really short price, completely ran off the screen and got a huge number on Briz. I don't know what the horse got on the buyer number scale, but that was a big move forward.
This is a good group. I went with the 6 in Sky We Trust for the high percentage red hot Michelle Level barn, coming in off of a really good win. Also came out of a very good race 2 starts back. This horse is just showing up, turf, dirt, kind of anything they ask him. He runs his race. Yeah.
I'm sure Michelle, obviously, everybody wants the title if they have a shot at it, but it's not like she's dropping this one to try and, snag a win kind of thing. It's in, I think, kind of the right spot.
That's, I think, been the key to her success this year, really, is she runs them really where they belong.
Yeah. What about the Brett Calhoun runner, Raylu, down on board? This horse has had 2 straight really, really good wins, came in from Lone Star and just repeated a solid effort, beating Belle Tapasseri and some other, kind of good dirt horses here.
Well, I thought kind of last time out the 1 turn mile was pushing the extent of this horse's scope. So the 7 furlongs I love for him.
Your picks for the 9th race?
6, 1, 8, and 7.
The 10th and final in terms of the wagering portion of the card. And actually, I guess it is the final race because 11 and 12 are run before the card. So it is the 10th and final at a mile and a 16th. Again, these 2-turn turf race, kind of the story of the Monday card, and a big field of 14 to finish us off here.
Strongest opinion of the day.
Okay.
Taking a big swing here. And this is another one of my steeplechase 2 flat racing angles. But number 10, Can You Do the Twist? Now, you remember watching her over fences. She's almost a runoff.
Yeah.
She's aggressive you don't say out of the gate, but from the flag, from the start. I am really interested to see if she has that kind of speed out of the gate. And she's not running on Lasix here. She did go first time Lasix last time out. And I guess that didn't make a difference with kind of her being unable to carry that speed.
Yeah.
But I think she's kind of a fascinating horse. She's not the biggest bodied filly either. So I wonder if she does just get a little tired over fences. I think if she kind of shows that sort of speed, she looks like one that gets really bold out front and brave on the lead without company. I think big gate to wire threat. Why not?
I love that they use the 7-pound apprentice too, Grace Labar.
They're gonna go. Like you have to think they're sending pounds, here, right?
Yeah, I would I'd venture a guess.
So why not? Yeah. Why not?
Yeah, I thought a few different ways to go in here. Reina de Verano, I thought was a little bit interesting, as you talked about that dip from 16 to 10 maybe being somewhat severe. This one had been somewhat competitive against 25s and 16s. They jumped up to maiden special weight for some reason last time and ran into Belle Police, who's going to be in the Oaks. Oops.
I cannot wait to see in the Oaks.
Yeah, I thought we'll talk about that on tomorrow's show. But my girl Blue, I thought one that rated a look in this spot. Michelle Level has Highland Heaven, who's coming over from Santa Anita from the Phil D'Amato barn. Didn't do a lot of running over there, maybe just kind of trying to find the right circuit. But where did you end up in the 10th race?
10, 3, 9, and 8.
The jump races, which are run again before the cards. So these are non-wagering races, but you can stream them on the NSA's website, not the other NSA, but this NSA, right?
The Jump NSA, yeah.
What is it? What is the NSA, National Steeplechase Association?
Yeah.
Okay. What's the other NSA stand for, though? National Security or something?
National Security. I mean, I drove by it on my way to Virginia, so.
It's always funny when you make that drive up and you're like, oh, there's the Pentagon.
Yeah, no, low key, no big deal.
Anyways, 2 miles, $30,000 maiden event, and a field, just a smallish field, I guess. We've had some big jump fields lately, but 8 in this one.
No shortage of quality. So number 8, Choo Choo. Do you remember Blue Skies and Rainbows, that nice horse that ran in California for a while?
A long time ago, though, right?
youngish.
Okay.
So he was a Virginia bred. He was a really cool racehorse, and he was one that every time I watched him race, I always went, "Wow, he looks really sporty and athletic. I wonder how he'd be over fences." Well, this is his full sibling,
Oh, there you go.
trying jumps for the first time, and I'm fascinated by all of this. English Channel is rapidly becoming just my favorite stallion, period, for flats, for jumps, for sport, for absolutely all purpose, because they're just so versatile and useful, and they run forever. I mean, they hold up to the rigors of this game really well. So Choo Choo, fascinated, great name, great pedigree, love everything about this horse.
Your picks for the 11th race?
8, 1, 3, and 2.
12th race on the card, again, a maiden $30,000 going over the jumps, just field of 7 in here. So I mean, I'm guessing, did they just split that race?
It seems to be.
Yeah, that makes sense. Then they probably had 15 and said, hey, let's do it. Where'd you land here, Jess?
I'm kind of interested in Westerland coming back on such short rest. I am still kind of learning some things about steeplechase racing, and I don't know if that's common or uncommon. For me in show horse land, doing a bunch of jumps and then wheeling back and doing the same amount of jumps a week later, like in a show format, might be asking a little bit much. I wonder how different that is with steeplechase racing. I went with Compass Zone on top, kind of coming in fresh since a good effort in May. Just very consistent horse.
What I remember about Westerland's race was kind of being in between horses for a decent chunk of period in the middle stages of the race. And because I kept having to struggle to find the silks, because it was kind of right between horses and on the far turn, they're pretty far away. And so I almost wonder if maybe, but it's kind of hard not to be in close knit quarters because they're so restricted to just that outer part of the course.
Yeah. And I think that's just how they go together.
Yeah. So I guess as a thoroughbred trip guy, they're thoroughbreds. I mean, sorry, as a flat trip guy, get yelled at for that every time I do that. I actually think being in between horses is not the most comfortable thing. And so, and obviously they're going a little bit more fast and more severe, so to speak. And so I don't know. It just, to me, it looked like maybe not a great trip for Westland. So maybe a move forward here, but your picks for the 12th and final.
1, 5, 2, and 7.
So again, tomorrow, Virginia Derby Day. We're going to have our regular preview show here. We're going to do a live day of one at the track as well for the big day. But be sure to tune in here on YouTube for that. And of course, watch and wager wherever you want to watch and wager on for Virginia Derby Day. And then closing day, Virginia Breeders' Day, Jess.
I love the state bred program.
Yeah. What is there? I think there's 11 or 12 stakes this week between the 3 cards. So going to be a fun one, but we'll see you guys out at the races. 1:45 for the wagering portion of the card, 12:15 if you want to watch the jump races. We'll see you guys back tomorrow.